Have you heard the buzz about the Ballon d'Or possibly being bought? That's what tons of fans are saying after this year's event. Social media is overflowing with complaints, with people feeling that the trophy doesn't really go to the best player anymore, but to whoever has the biggest influence. Brazilian player Rafinha even weighed in, mentioning in an interview that sometimes it feels more like politics than football. He said, "We play with passion, but the award seems to go to names that have already been picked." His comments reflect what countless fans have been posting online, claiming the Ballon d'Or has turned into a popularity contest. This year's winner took a lot of folks by surprise. The stats didn't quite line up, and some performances were pretty questionable, yet the trophy was handed out with a big smile. Some fans feel it was more of a nod to reputation than actual performance, while others think it's more about sponsorships and image than real achievements like goals and assists. TikTok is buzzing with fans chanting that the award was rigged, and memes of players like Haaland, Vinicius Jr., and Rafinha have taken over timelines with captions like "robbed again." The Ballon d'Or used to represent the true glory of football, but now critics are saying it's losing its luster. The big question is the Ballon d'Or still about the sport, or has it just turned into a business deal?
Have you heard about the 13-year-old girl from Texas who pulled off an unbelievable deception? For years, she was known as Lily Carter. On January 12, 2020, she called 911, crying that strangers had broken into her home. When the police arrived, they found her parents and older sister dead in their rooms, while Lily was discovered hiding under her bed, trembling and looking innocent with her clothes stained. She quickly became a symbol of survival, and the community raised over $250,000 to help her start fresh. Lily moved in with her aunt, attended therapy, and everyone admired the brave girl. However, everything took a turn in 2024 when her best friend stumbled upon a hidden notebook in her backpack. This notebook laid bare her entire plan: how she had crushed sleeping pills into her family's meals, used her dad's gun in the early hours, and even practiced fake crying in front of the mirror before making that 911 call. The most chilling part? The last line that read, "And still tastes funny. She won't make it to summer." It turned out tests revealed her aunt was being slowly poisoned. When the police finally took Lily into custody, she didn't show any remorse but instead smirked and whispered, "I turned 17 today. By 22, I'll be free." She was sentenced to 5 years in juvenile detention, and it's hard to believe, but she already has millions of online followers who think she's innocent.
Have you heard the rumors about North Korea's leader? Apparently, he hasn't had a good night's sleep in over 10 years. In the heart of Pyongyang, there's talk of a top-secret project called Project Iron Mind. It's said that a group of elite scientists worked on a special serum designed to eliminate the need for sleep altogether, with Kim himself as the test subject. After just 3 doses, he reportedly stopped dreaming, and by the 5th, he even ceased blinking. There are reports of him wandering the palace at all hours, 3 a.m., even 6 a.m., never pausing for a moment. As the sleepless nights went on, he began to look increasingly unwell, his skin becoming pale and his eyes red and sunken. But it didn't stop there. His paranoia escalated too. He claimed he could hear voices in the shadows, and guards discovered strange symbols scrawled on the walls in what appeared to be his own blood circles, spirals, and eyes, countless designs. Some whisper that he's lost touch with his humanity, suggesting that the serum didn't just take away his sleep, it may have opened a gateway to something far more sinister. Now, in the palace, nobody dares to mention his name after the sun goes down. It makes you wonder, what happens to a person who never dreams? It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
Did you hear the news? Hulk Hogan sadly passed away at the age of 71 after suffering a cardiac arrest, leaving behind an incredible legacy in American culture. He wasn't just any wrestler, he was the iconic face of WWE, representing strength, charisma, and a sense of American pride, with his signature blonde mustache, red bandana, and that unforgettable catchphrase, "What you gonna do, brother?" He truly defined a generation. In the 80s and 90s, Hogan was a superstar, filling arenas like a deity. He took down giants, became an action figure, starred in cartoons, and even made it big in movies, transforming wrestling into a worldwide phenomenon. But with all that fame came challenges, scandals, and criticism led to a time when he stepped back from the spotlight. However, legends have a way of making a comeback. Hogan returned, a bit older and wiser, greeting fans with smiles and handshakes, reigniting inspiration in many. Tragically, on July 24, 2025, at his home in Florida, he experienced a fatal cardiac arrest. Although he was rushed to the hospital, he didn't survive. The arena lights may have dimmed, but his legacy endures, because every time someone yells in the ring or flexes their muscles, Hulk Hogan's spirit lives on.
Once upon a time, there's this young woman who decided to hit the town with her friends for a night out. As the sun began to rise, she stumbled upon a guy who looked like he stepped right out of a fantasy. He was dressed to the nines, had a calm smile, but his intense gaze was a bit unnerving. He didn't say much, but when he spoke, it felt like he had picked her out of the crowd just for himself. Without giving it too much thought, she said yes to joining him at this exclusive club he mentioned, a place that hardly anyone knew about. When they arrived, the scene was wild, flashing lights and booming music everywhere. Still, something felt a bit off. People were dancing as if they were in a trance, completely focused on the stage. He handed her a drink that shimmered under the red lights, and after just a couple of sips, everything started to spin. The last thing she remembered was catching a glimpse of her warped reflection in the glass before everything went black. When she finally woke up, the vibrant lights and music were gone. Instead, she found herself in a cold, damp room, barely illuminated by a flickering bulb that revealed odd stains on the walls. A sharp pain in her side made her reach down, only to find a poorly done bandage. On a nearby chair, she spotted a crumpled note that simply read, "Thank you for the donation." With whatever strength she could muster, she made her way to a hospital where the unimaginable was confirmed. She was missing a crucial organ. The scariest part? Despite the police brushing it off, similar stories began surfacing in different cities. Was it just a wild coincidence, or was there a hidden network still lurking in the shadows, leaving no trace behind? In history, there's a figure known for her dark actions, Mary. She raised her son, Ethan, on her own, and they had a strong bond for many years. But as Ethan grew up, he began to pull away, leaving Mary feeling isolated. When Ethan turned 23, he got married, and a year later, he welcomed a son named Luca. The first time Mary held the baby, a disturbing idea struck her. She wanted to be more than just Luca's grandmother. She wanted to be his mother. So, she offered to help take care of him while secretly plotting against her daughter-in-law, Catherine. Mary pretended to be supportive, giving Catherine what she claimed were health supplements. But it wasn't long before Catherine tragically passed away. Afterward, Mary started manipulating Ethan, constantly repeating that Luca was too young and it was heartbreaking for him to grow up without a mother. Caught in his grief and confusion, Ethan eventually agreed to let Mary take on the role of mom. Mary believed her secret would remain hidden, but when Luca turned 5, his teacher assigned a project where the kids had to draw their mothers. While the other kids illustrated young women, Luca drew an elderly woman with wrinkles. When the teacher asked about the drawing, Luca confidently replied, "She is my mom, and she is also my grandma."
Did you hear about that Louisiana steakhouse with a really unsettling secret? Back in 1994, Griggs & Cass Steakhouse was a hit all over the southern US. Families would line up for hours just to get a taste of their famous smoked ribs, which had a flavor like no other. The owner, Walter Griggs, was the epitome of a friendly butcher, always cheerful, treating customers well, and offering meat that was incredibly tender. But beneath that warm exterior, something really disturbing was happening. People started to vanish without a trace, travelers who never made it to their destinations, a homeless guy who disappeared, and even a young woman from a nearby gas station. The police thought it was all just a string of bad luck until a health inspector came in for a routine check and mysteriously didn't come out. When authorities finally searched the place, what they found was chilling. There was a freezer full of meat that didn't look like it came from any animal, with cuts neatly arranged as if they were ready for sale. The smell from the smoker was so bad it made the coroner sick on the spot. The townsfolk were left haunted by what they discovered that day. When Griggs was arrested, he didn't show any guilt at all. Instead, he just smiled and said, "People always said my meat had a special taste." Back in 1981, there was this hot dog stand tucked away in a narrow alley on Chicago's South Side. It was pretty ordinary at first glance, run by a middle-aged guy called Uncle Bill. He always wore a greasy baseball cap and had this goofy grin that made him seem friendly. But those hot dogs, they were something else. The aroma was absolutely enticing, and the meat had this perfect firmness and flavor. When folks would ask him what made his hot dogs so special, Uncle Bill would just give a mysterious smile and say it was his secret recipe. Then one day, a homeless guy called the cops, complaining about a strange, burnt smell coming from behind Bill's stand. He said it reminded him of charred clothes and leather. So, the police decided to check it out and raided the little tin shack at the end of the alley. What they found was shocking: a small incinerator, and scattered around were bits of clothing and shoes. They caught Bill in the act, cleaning his grill while humming a jazz tune and picking his teeth. When an officer asked him where the missing people were, Bill just smiled and pointed to the hot dog links hanging up, saying, "Want a bite? Tonight's batch is super fresh."